So I'm going to give you we're going to maybe park the words for a second and give you a visual of how all of this fits together. So I'll try to walk you through this diagram. I realize it's quite an eyeful, but if I wanted to put the overall China regulation into a visual, this is essentially what would come out of it. So we'll start at the center. So in the center, we have that CSP or HSP, that layer 2, that collaborative or harmonization service platform. And that is the NMPA run system that will be collecting information from your traceability systems as a manufacturer, from those as a wholesaler, from pharmacies, et cetera. Those are represented by those dark green boxes above the MAH, wholesaler, and hospital icons. So essentially, as products are moving through the supply chain, the different entities will be supplying information to that central HSP. And the format of that information, it can be through XML or JSON. There are even some manual methods to encapsulate that information and send it up to the HSP. But the point I want to underscore is that there is this central system that is connected to each of the entities in the supply chain. Each of those has its own responsibilities. So, for example, the marketing authorization holder, manufacturer, needs to ensure that the products are barcoded and serialized appropriately with one of those options. There is a whole series of master data that needs to be provided. And just our TraceLink analysis of that shows that it is rather extensive. So not only company information, but licenses as well, and different fields that perhaps didn't need to be reported before need to be reported now. And as the products are packaged and serialized and moved and sold from one entity to another, the HSP is collecting all of those events and information associated with those transactions. So essentially, at the end, the HSP is going to have a record of where the medicine has been, where it is, the stakeholders who've interacted with it and who have sent transactions, and also the medicine itself will have, the medicine pack will have a status as it does flow from the manufacturer and is eventually dispensed out to a patient. So that, in a nutshell, is what we call vertical integration. So this reporting of information to this, from the stakeholders to the central system. There's a big yellow arrow going across which says horizontal integration. And that refers to that third group of requirements that I mentioned on the previous slide. And that is that in the technical guidelines that have been published by the Chinese government, it relates that there are responsibilities for stakeholders to exchange data. And this data exchange is not a normal or formal functionality of the HSP. So it's not just a matter of sending the data only up to that HSP and having that data be pushed back down to the other stakeholders. No. That government system was not designed for that capability. So there needs to be a way for data to be exchanged efficiently and preferably not point to point between, let's say, a manufacturer and a wholesaler. So this is going to require some thinking and planning on industry's part so that we don't end up with a hodgepodge of different solutions. So this is something that indeed we are working on with our customers in TraceLink, the idea of an efficient and organized way and a systematic way to provide information to downstream trading partners.